You do research because you want to learn something. When you get something from results, then you have the urge to share your results. Publications is a way of intellectual discourse
Yeah.
on a global scale without having to meet your audience.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Prof. Radit, and next to me is my guru, Prof. Mansur Ibrahim. Prof. Mansur Ibrahim was my supervisor in PhD back almost 15 years back, yeah, in IUM, and I learned a lot from him. He's the one who brought me to the world of Scopus.
Okay.
So, Prof, when I was doing my PhD, Prof, I many times I look at your papers, yeah, and I learned a lot from your papers, and that was like 15 years back, yeah,
Yes.
and of course, your experience in publication is much more longer than that one, right? So maybe 20 years, 25 years is your experience in publications. What is actually the important for publications for the students, and how is the important intention that the students have to have first? How do you see?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Very, very
warahmatullahi.
good questions, especially for the young researcher.
Young researcher,
because
student.
we have to understand the fact that publication is the result of research.
Publication is the result of research.
You
Yes,
publish
the
your
output of research,
output,
right?
you publish the output of your research.
Right, right.
But the research that you do is
Yeah.
because of your interest and your curiosity.
That's the
that
first
you
one.
would like to learn more. Like, for example, my first publication is very simple. Very simple publication. I asked myself, what might be the impact of monetary policy on inflation?
Monetary policy.
And many people said to me when I tried to write that article, they said to me, we already know the impact will be positive. But then do we know for sure the impact? Yes, we know the impact positive, but do we know for sure the impact is how much? To what extent? Like,
Quantitative measure, how much, how
quantitative
big,
measure. So we are not so
the
clear.
impact. Yeah.
And why we need to know that? Because the extent of the impact might be different from the past.
Different country.
Different countries,
Yes.
different setting, different system.
Right.
So we still need to know. In that curiosity, I write the article despite the fact that people say we know the answer yet, but I do not
Yes.
know the answer. So the idea is coming from my own self curiosity to know something firsthand by looking at data. Because being researcher is someone that need to look at things firsthand, need to learn firsthand.
Yes.
And then when you do research, you get the results, and you think that you learn something from results. So that's the first thing,
Yeah.
because you do research because you want to learn something, and when you get something from results, then you have the urge to share your results.
Yeah.
And of course, in order to share our result, we cannot just share like that.
Right.
We have to share the result by communicating through writing so that it can reach many people globally.
Yeah.
And publication allow you to reach the audience globally, because those who have
Right.
interest in inflation will read that article.
Because
and
we have
refer
to
your
put the
articles.
keyword, right?
Yeah, we put the keywords and
Yes.
so on. And if you publish in high quality journal, even better, because
Yeah.
many people will refer to high quality journal.
Right. Right.
So just treat publication as a way for you to share your knowledge, to share your findings.
Yeah.
And the reason why we focus on Q1, Q2, because you want to reach more people.
Yes.
And you want to reach better, highly reputable researchers out there.
Right. Right. This is important. This is
That's very important, because if you
Yeah.
publish in below average journals, you get below average audience.
Right. Right. Right.
But then your communication, you want to be part of above average audience,
Yeah, yeah.
with the hope that you give them some input, and at the end, they may look at your work, they may improve further, they may counter argue with what you have argued,
Yeah.
and we also can later on read their arguments and then again improve our
Improve,
work.
yes.
So those are very important part. Publications is a way of, I would say, uh, intellectual discourse
Yeah.
on a global scale without having to meet your audience.
Prof,
Yeah.
sometimes, Prof, people are not putting the first one is the curiosity. The first one is the incentive. The first one is the okay. This call for papers. Call for papers. Let's go. The organizer will pay us, and we can do jalan-jalan. We can do- so the original idea is not the curiosity, like
Yeah.
the one you just mentioned. How do you see? Can you guess what will be the impact if the first intention is not the curiosity? Would that be in creating a less quality of result? How do you see?
No, I would say that it depends on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
If you have incentive coming in, you can leverage on that incentive so that you can do a better job in the interest,
Yes.
in the area of your interest. For example,
Yes.
let's say I have
yes.
interest on Islamic banking.
Yeah.
Let's say I have interest, and then suddenly they have incentive that said if you publish in Q1, you get it in this.
Yeah.
So I should take that incentive as
To-
motivations
Betul.
for me to do more and to look deeper.
Yeah,
Not
betul.
just try to rush publications
Yeah.
and get incentive. No,
Yeah,
right?
betul.
Because I know that by doing a good job,
Yeah.
incentive is there for me.
Right.
So we
That's
should use that as motivations,
Yeah.
and we should rush for publications.
Yeah, and also we need to remember also, right, Prof? The incentive is not only in the form of money, right?
Yeah.
Incentive somehow can be in the form of maybe invitations to go somewhere else
Yeah.
as a speaker.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course, you have a lot of experience that
Yeah.
one, right?
Right. No, of course, right? When you write a lot in the journal,
Yeah.
for examples, right? And my first experience that when I write a lot in the journal, you get invitation from, let's say, the
Central bank.
national institutions. You get invitation from central bank.
Yes.
I got invitation, the first one from Malaysian's Institute of Economic Research, for me to present
Mayar.
paper on finance and growth. So they gave me some incentive.
Yeah.
Right?
This is important.
Without writing, people cannot spot you.
Right.
With writing, people spot you.
Yeah.
And because I write a lot using econometrics,
Yeah.
I got basically the invitations from central
Training
bank
for
to give
training.
training central bank.
Itu.
And central bank give me, I think, before I stopped due to busy work somewhere
Yeah.
else, I think I give training to Central Bank of Malaysia, the young economists,
Researcher.
young researchers, young economists, I think for more than 5 years.
Wow.
For more than 5 years.
Wow.
So they asked me to give training for more than 10 days per year. Right? And monetary incentive.
Don't ask about the monetary. It come from central bank, right?
Coming from central bank. So
You don't have to ask
done
that.
before. These are things, and the same thing. Invitation from Bank Indonesia Institute, for
Yes,
example,
Bank Indonesia.
because they look at your publications and
Yes.
they think that you can help them, so they invite you.
Yes.
So these are other incentive that you have, and one more thing, focus on quality. When you reach certain point, for example, after 10 years, after 10 years, I think since I joined INSEF, for example, when I joined INSEF, I start publishing Islamic banking and so on, and for a few years and get a good publications. And after that, going to conference, I don't have to pay on my own. My university doesn't have to pay on my own. I went to Turkey for many years, all supported by Central Bank of Turkey. I came here
Mashallah.
every year.
Saudi
by
also,
Central
right?
Bank.
Our student? Yeah, our
The
student.
Central Bank of
Yeah.
Turkey, and become committee member of King Fahad Academic Conference. They brought me to Riyadh, for
Yeah.
example,
Ibrahim, our friends.
Yeah.
Ibrahim,
Yeah, sure,
HDB.
yeah. So all these things will come up. So as you
Yeah.
said rightfully, you will not get monetary incentive right where people give you money like that.
Yeah.
But then when you build your reputations, those things
Yeah.
coming up. Right?
Yeah.
So
So remember, not only in the form of money,
Yeah.
but in the form of our good or better reputations.
Yeah.
Money will come later.
Yeah.
And Prof, when you mentioned that the curiosity is important, Prof, and curiosity, we need to read more
Yeah.
and more
yeah,
so that our curiosity will be sharpened,
yeah,
right?
true.
Our research gap will be sharpened.
Yes.
How important is actually the research gap for to have a higher chances to be accepted? Because research gap is important, right?
Yep. No, see, you say right. We have to read more
Yeah,
and more. Because
Yeah.
that one really important. Reading allow you to be able to understand what other peoples have done
yeah. The
and
discourse,
allow
yeah,
you to look at what are the interests right now.
yeah,
But then when you read,
yeah.
remember you have to read critically.
Critically,
Yeah, you have
important.
to read critically.
Critically, not only read, but why?
Yeah,
Criticize.
because I
Why?
always tell my students when you read, do not accept totally what people have written.
Persis seperti yang saya
Yeah,
ajarkan.
do not accept what people have written.
Yeah.
You have to always ask.
Betul,
When they
right?
say something, why not this way? For example, say, you have to say why not this way. When people say, of course, Islamic Bank is resilience against, for example, global financial crisis. You have to ask if they are resilient against global financial crisis. How about against other type of risk? For example,
yeah,
because
yeah,
different
yeah.
type of risk, different type of crisis, they are different.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
have to
betul.
always ask a lot of questions.
Criticize,
Try
lot
to
of-
find way to ask the questions. Of course, the finding may be of interest to you,
Yeah.
and then you feel good about the finding people had made regarding Islamic Bank. But you have to ask always.
Yeah.
You have to ask, okay, of Islamic Bank are less risk. Maybe less risk you use the wrong measure. For example, you have to always
betul.
ask all kind of those things so that you can get the gap and so on. Because by asking, you get the gap. By asking, you see the room for improvements. So that what needs to be done.
Criticizing.
Yeah.
We need to ask many questions about what we read, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And also remember that when our quality about criticism depends on how many journal that we read.
Yes.
Because if you read much more, then you will criticize a lot.
Yeah. Like one article that I have published, for example, quite fast in Emerging Market Review.
Okay.
And also in Journal of Multinational Financial Management, both are Elsevier journal.
Wow.
In Emerging Market Review, right, we have read many articles that have said that Islamic Bank are resilient. And in fact, they look at the global financial crisis and they find the results that Islamic Bank financings remain
Financing.
resilient. So I asked myself, okay, if Islamic Bank keep on financing even during bad time, is that a reflection of take too much risk, taking risk? Right? You keep on financing, showing people that you are resilient, but you're financing of bad quality, what will happen?
Yeah.
Credit risk coming in.
Yeah, of course.
So I checked that one that people have not checked. I checked whether financings of Islamic Bank during the time crisis will later on create risk to the bank. So I investigate those.
Yes.
Right? And the same thing in the other journal they have looked at. Like I read the articles from the IMF that said small Islamic bank is better. I listened to the central banker that said we need to have bigger Islamic bank. So it created curiosity. So which is which? Right? The policy makers want big Islamic bank, but the IMF said small Islamic bank is small
better.
Islamic bank is better, more stable,
quantity, more
manageable, and so on. So I write article on those and get published quite easily. So that curiosity, looking at the gap and so on, allow you to
that
look,
one, Prof. Yes.
So that's really important for you to introduce because introductions must create tensions because people will read your introduction first.
Yeah.
If people are not interested, people will throw your paper away. I will write introduction first. These are my objectives. I will go to doing data analysis. After data analysis, try to look at the methods and so on. But sometimes method doesn't work. I go
Yeah.
back to introduction, change the
Adjust.
method. The last one, literature review, can be last.